Hey, what's up, people? So it's in case you're trying to learn DaVinci Resolve Fusion, let's jump into the tutorial. So I have a brand new project, nothing's going on. And what we want to do first is to go to the edit page, right click on this empty space on the media pool. That could be on the effects tab at the top. So go over to your media pool, right click on your media pool and say new fusion composition. It's going to set the duration to 5 seconds and it's going to call it new fusion composition 1. I'll just hit OK to create that fusion composition. So we have that already, but we need to put that into a timeline. So all we need to do is to drag this and place it down here, and Resolve is automatically going to create a new timeline for us. To create a new timeline, we can just hit Control N, and this will open up the option of creating a new timeline. Just know that when you have a video clip and you drag it over here, it's going to create a new timeline automatically for you. So with this fusion clip selected, we'll just select that, or we can just drag the playhead to be a bit somewhere at the top. Let's hit the fusion tab at the bottom. So I'll hit the fusion tab and this will take us to the magical fusion page. So what do we have here? So first we can actually see two windows. The one on the left is the source window and the one on the right is the output or the preview window. What do these two windows mean? Let's look at the window on the left first. So if you have a node, for example, here we have a media out node. Now a node is DaVinci's Resolve way of actually placing an object that does one specific task. For example, this media out node, the purpose of this media output node is to display the output of your media back into Resolve. So here on the edit page, because I have this fusion composition that has nothing, if I wanted to see this in this output window, I'll need to use a media out node. That's why this is created for us automatically. Now, let's go ahead and see what's happening here. So why do we use nodes? Well, nodes are a shortcut to the background tasks or actions in DaVinci Resolve. To simplify how you use complicated tasks, everything is consolidated into a node. So each node will have a specific purpose. For example, if I go over here under the nodes, if I click a background node, sorry, I'll just quickly undo that. And I'll just click any empty space and click a background node. This node is responsible for creating a background. Now, let's go back to that preview and source window I was telling you about. On this background node, we can see two dots here at the bottom left. If I click the one on the left, it's actually showing me the node output, what this node is doing. I can see the output on the left window. If, for example, I have a text node, I'll just click on this T and I have a text node. And over here on the inspector, if you don't see the inspector, click the inspector and let's just call this hello, like that. And we just increase the size of that text. Again, if I click on that white window on the left, we can actually see the text. So that means when we're working in the Resolve and we don't want to see the output yet on the output window, we could just test this out to see what this node is doing, right? So there's also a node which duty is to add an object in the background or the foreground. And now let's look at something going on here. Let's look at something here. Now, if I just zoom up here and I look at this background node, for example, we can see there's a blue triangle here and there's a white gray square. The same thing with the text node. There's a blue triangle here and there's a white gray square. Now for the media output, there's a yellow triangle and then there's a white gray square. What do these mean? Well, anytime you see a gray square at the right side, it means you have an output node. This is a mask node, which is just a selection, and it helps to limit where your text or your effect is visible. So this output node means whatever you're doing to your node is going to be connected into another node as an input. Now we have a special node called a merge node that combines your foreground and background object, just like you have a layer in GIMP or Photoshop. Let's see what the merge node does. Now remember, a node is an object in DaVinci Resolve that has one specific task. Now the task of the merge node is to combine two nodes. So here I'll take the merge node and just click on it. Now we can see we have a merge node. We can see we have our yellow input, which is a background input, just like we have in the media out. We have our blue input here, which is a mask input. And then we have a gray white square, which is an output. Now, if I go over here and I wanted to set this as the background, I'll take the output of the background node and connect that to the yellow input. Now, if I go to the merge and click the white square, we can actually see that we're seeing the black background because the merge is getting input from our background node. So here in our foreground object, I'll just drag this, and here we can actually see the green input. So that's our foreground. So we'll just drag this here, the output, and place that into the foreground object. And you can see DaVinci Resolve might change the positions, but just know the color code. Once you know the color code, you're fine. So now we can actually see the output of our merge node. Now, if we go back to the edit page, we're actually not seeing any output because we're not connecting the output of our merge one into the input of our media out node. By doing that, automatically, what we're going to see is an output here that says hello with a black background. So if you go over here to the edit page, we can actually see this hello text with a black background. Let's quickly look at what a mask does. A mask is going to hide regions of your pixel. So here, if I select the node, I go over here and click this rectangle mask, and I click the first white dot just to see that we only have a white region here. Let's put that region into the output, into our input of our text node. So now that we have that here, let's try to move the mask. So I'll just drag this over here, and we can see we're hiding our text based on that region. So white means you're hiding your pixels, and black means your pixels are being exposed. That's what a mask does. So for example, if you wanted to like animate this hello text, which we're going to do right now, we can actually just make that appear. And you can chain nodes by connecting the end of one node into the input of another node. Now, how do we animate things? So I'll drag this timeline here to 0, just over here like that, and I'll drag this rectangle selection here to the left a bit. And what I'll do is on the rectangle node, make sure I'm on the rectangle node. I'll go over here where I have the rectangle transform here where we're moving it. That's our center. And what I'll actually do is to set a keyframe at the center here. This is going to create a snapshot in memory. And then once we've done that, we'll move a couple of frames, let's say frame 10, and I'll just drag this over here to expose the text. And if we drag this back and play it, we can actually see we're animating this. So we can drag our handles and animate our text in DaVinci Resolve, or use these effects to animate. Also, I also mentioned we chain nodes together. Now, for example, if I take this text node and I wanted to add a little blur to the text, if I go over here where we can see the hello, if I click the blur node, it's automatically going to add a blur between the text and the merge node. So you can see how it's starting to become complicated. So for this blur, I'll just drag the blur size just a little bit like that, like so, just a little bit, make it slightly light. And we can even animate the blur. So what we can also do is to change our background color. If I go to our background node, we can open the color tab and set this to any color we want. So I can set this to sort of like green, like that. And this time around, if we play the animation here, we're now seeing our blurred yellow text in a green background that goes back and hides the yellow again. So that's just a very, very brief overview on what Fusion does. I hope you found this interesting. If you'd like to learn more about DaVinci Resolve and Fusion, please feel free to check out my DaVinci Resolve tutorial playlist on my YouTube page at TechNode. Peace, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.